हरि शिष्य राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्ट महाभगवत श्री गौरीश्वरदास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्ट श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानु गौरी गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौरमंडल व्रजमंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदाति गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री मुन देवी गंग देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाय की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। जय श्री शिक्षाष्टक की जय। जय श्री चैतन्य शिक्षाष्टक की जय। जय श्री सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि की जय। The Sanmodan Bhashya of Śrīla Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. The Vivritti of Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. All the commentaries of our acharyas ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. And today we're going to read Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī. So, Jai Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Golden Volcano of Divine Love ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Alright, so we'll do the Mangala Charan and then begin. Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Kodiya Gurvanvaye Bhato Bhanuriva Prabhata Gagane Yogora Sankirtanai Maya Varati Mingilo Daragatan Udhritya Jiva Niman Krishna Prema Sudabdi Kahana Sukham Pradat Prabhung Tang Bhaje Vande Bhakti Vinodangshi Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajam Radharasa Sudha Nidhim Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Vrishabhanusutan Vitavamatanum Yamuna Tatanagarananda Sutam Murali Kalagita Vinora Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunja Vidum Smaragora Gadadhara Kelikalam Bhava Gora Gadadhara Pakshachara Shrinu Gora Gadadhara Charukatang Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunja Vidum Tavai vasmi, na jivami tvaya vinam, iti vigyaya devi tvam, nayamang charanantikam. Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshai, kshiptashcha kama ditaranga madhye, kripa maitvam sharanam prapanna, vrinde namaste charanarvindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Saruparaya Sangha Harsha Shesha Ghoshanam Shikshanashtakakya Krishna Kirtanaika Poshanam Prema Nama Matra Vishwa Jivanaika Sambharam Prema Dhama Devameva Nomi Gora Sundaram Premor Bhavita Mishritam Lapitam Gorachandrasya Bhagyavarbhirnishevyate Prabhur Shikshashtak Shlokas Jay Pore Shune Krishne Prem Bhakti Tar Bare Dine Dine. For that person who reads or hears the Lord Shikshashtak verses, that person's prem bhakti for Krishna increases day by day. Jai Shri Shikshashtak ki jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Mahārāja ki jai. All right, so let's see who is here. Dandavat Pranams, Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Nitai Mokeshji, Rukmini Didi, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, Vidya Lalasa Didi, Gargaraj Ji, and I don't know who else is there. I'm guessing Indira Mataji and Raseshwari Mataji. All right, so we are continuing with our reading of Sri Chaitanya Shikshāṣṭaka. And yesterday, we finished reading the Vivriti, the commentary of Śrīla Bhakti Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. And today we will read the commentary of Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja from his book, Golden Volcano of Divine Love. But before we begin, we will we'll recite Shikshāṣṭaka and then sing the Shikshāṣṭaka song by Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam Shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam Vidyavadhu jivanam Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam Purnamrita svadanam Sarvatma snapanam parang vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kala Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishamiha Janinanuraga Trinarapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena कीर्तनीया सदा हरि न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतार्भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि ऐनन्दतनुज किङ्करं पतितं मां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पारपङ्कज स्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तय नयनं गलरशुधारय वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिरा पुलकार्निचितं वपुकदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रवृषायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे आश्लिष्यवापाररतं पिनष्टु माम् अदर्शनान् मर्महतं करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पटो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव न परा. So now the song for the first verse of Śikṣāṣṭaka. Pita Varana Kalipavana Gora. One second, I'm just getting the mridanga. Pitavarana Kali Apavana Gora Kawai Aichana Bhava Vibhora Kawai Aichana Bhava Vibhora Chitta darpana parimarjana kari Krishna kirtana jaya chitta vihari Hela bhavadavani vapana vriti Krishna Kirtana Jai Klesha Nivriti Shreya Kumuda Vidhu Jyotsna Prakasha Krishna Kirtana Jai Bhakti Vilasa Vishuddha Vidyavadu Jivana Rupa Krishna Kirtana Jai Siddha Swarupa Ananda Payonidhi Vardhana Kirti Krishna Kirtana Jai Plavana Murti Pade Pade Piyusham Swada Pradata Krishna Kirtana Jai Prema Vidhata Bhakti Vinoda Swatma Snapana Vidhana Krishna Kirtana Jaya Prema Nidana Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Thakur ki Jai. His Gitavali ki Jai. Jai Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka ki Jai. Dandavat pranams Shripad Bhaktivedanta Sajan Maharaj, Haribol. And also Krishna Mai Didi, Haribol. All right, so now we will read from the Golden Volcano of Divine Love by Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja. So this book is divided into 3 parts. The first part is the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it gives a summary of Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat. And then part 2 is Śikṣāṣṭaka, the precepts of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's kind of following how Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur did it. Although Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in the precepts part, he went through Dashmula Tattva, and Śrīla Goswāmī is going through Śikṣāṣṭakam. But yeah, first start with the life of Mahaprabhu and then his teachings. Okay, so, and then at the end of this program, we will read the rest of Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Sanmodan Pashya in Bengali and the translations. But that will be the unofficial part of the program. That will be after I do Jadwani. Okay, so the precepts of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the holy name. Cheto darpanamarjanam pavamahadavagni nirvapanam Shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam Vedyavadu jivanam Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadang Purnamritasvadanam Sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So here is Śrīla Gosvāmī Mahārāja's translation. The holy name of Krishna cleanses the mirror of the heart and extinguishes the fire of misery in the forest of birth and death. As the evening lotus blooms in the moon's cooling rays, the heart begins to blossom in the nectar of the name. And at last, the soul awakens to its real inner treasure, a life of love with Krishna. Again and again tasting nectar, the soul dives and surfaces in the ever-increasing ocean of ecstatic joy. all phases of the self of which, all phases of the self of which we may conceive are fully satisfied and purified, and at last conquered by the all-auspicious influence of the holy name of Krishna. Illumination. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the pioneer of Sri Krishna Sankirtan. He said, "I have come to inaugurate the chanting of the holy name of Krishna, and that name will reach every nook and corner of the universe. Prithivite ache jato nagaradikram sarvata prachar hoive mor nam." What is the meaning of Sankirtan? We heard yesterday, was it Śrīla Bhakti Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada's definition of Sankirtan? Let's see how Śrīla Gosvāmī Mahārāja explains it. He says, Samyak means full, and Kirtan means chanting. Together, these two words form the word Sankirtan, which generally means congregational chanting of the holy name of Krishna. But samyak means full not only in quantity, but also in quality. Full quantity means extensive in number, congregational. Full quality means complete praise. Complete praise can only mean the glorification of Krishna and not any other gods. So Sankirtan means complete kirtan, a song in praise of the complete whole, the absolute truth. Anything else is only a partial representation, and therefore defective to a certain extent. Therefore, Krishna should be praised. His glory should be chanted, for he is everything. He is the master, the dispenser of both good and bad, the absolute controller of everything. Everything is due to him. The fulfillment of all life is reached in him alone. I really love this part. Look, okay, I highlighted this before. Just as a horse may have reins to check his movements, but if we let loose, will run freely, praise which is unchecked by any mundane purpose will run straight toward the supreme cause, Krishna. Isn't that so beautiful? So what are the reins that are checking our kirtan from going to Krishna? It's all these material desires and things like that, right? I'm just going to reread it. Just as a horse may have reins to check his movements, but if let loose will run freely, praise which is unchecked by any mundane purpose will run straight towards the supreme cause, Krishna. The word Shri means Lakshmi Devi, Krishna's potency. This means, right, because it says Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan. So the Shri means Lakshmi Devi, Krishna's potency. This means that in Sankirtan, Krishna is worshipped along with his potency, for Krishna's potency is included within him. That's why when I started the whole Gaudiya Kirtan app thing, and Amal Krishna Prabhu, who's like the head in the Hindi publications, he was very strong that no, it shouldn't just be Gaudiya Kirtan, it has to be Shri Gaudiya Kirtan app, because the Shri for us is very important. That brings Krishna's his potency, his Shakti, Srimati Radhika. So we say Shri Krishna means Radha Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Shri Krishna Sankirtan should thrive throughout the world. It should be victorious without any hindrance. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. It should be spontaneous. It should be a spontaneous, unchecked, and natural flow. It should be exclusive, independent, and without reservation. And this praise of Krishna should be congregationally chanted. That vibration is beneficial for the whole world. Only by surrender and pure devotion can we take to Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Only by surrender and pure devotion can we take to Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Cleansing the mirror of the mind. One second, I'm just going to close my door. Okay. What are the different stages through which we will pass while chanting the holy name of Krishna? The first stage is that it cleanses the mirror of the mind. If the mirror of the mental system is covered with dust, we cannot see things clearly, and scriptural advice cannot be perfectly reflected there. What are the different kinds of dust covering the mirror of the mind? Our infinite, fleeting, and organized desires are considered dust, and our hearts and minds are covered with layers and layers of this dust. Therefore, we cannot see things properly. They cannot properly reflect in our mind because it is covered with the infinite ordinary desires of this mundane world. Bhukti, mukti, siddhi, kami, sakali ashanta. Should I explain what these mean? Okay, I'll just say those who are desirous of enjoyment, liberation, perfections, different mystic perfections, and so on. Shakali, they are all ashanta. They are all restless. They are not peaceful at all. They're all, disturbed and restless. So the first effect of Sri Krishna Sankirtan is the cleansing of the mind. The Vedic social system, Varnashram Dharma, has been formed for this purpose. If we discharge our social duties perfectly, without any attraction for the consequences, we will achieve purification of our consciousness. But the first installment of Nam Sankirtan gives us the end result of Varnashram Dharma, purification of the heart and mind. Then we can understand Vedic advice properly. So is it like a shortcut? I guess. Yeah. The next effect of chanting the holy name is that it extinguishes the fire of material existence in the forest of repeated birth and death. We are forced to come into creation and again die. The mundane wave catches the soul, which mingles with that vibration in different stages. Wait, what does that mean? The mundane wave catches the soul, which mingles with that vibration in different stages. That is stopped by the second effect of Sri Krishna Sankirtan, and we become liberated. With the first stride, the intelligence is purified. With the second stride, the holy name effects liberation from the great conflagration of threefold miseries. The threefold miseries are adhyatmic, miseries within the body and mind, such as disease and mental anxiety; adiphotic, miseries from our neighbors, man, beasts, insects, and so on. Oh, and so many other living entities, living beings. And adidaivic, natural catastrophes like famine, flood, and earthquake. We have to suffer from these three kinds of miseries, which burn in our heart like fire. But everything is extinguished forever. Everything is extinguished forever by the second stride of Nam Sankirtan, which gives us relief. Okay, so the first stride is the intelligence is purified. The second stride of the effect of Harinam is the liberation from the threefold miseries. Relief. Okay, now the supreme goal of life. The next stage is Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. The holy name bestows upon us the supreme goal of life. After doing away with these two negative engagements, our positive engagement begins and ultimately takes us to reality, to the real truth, which is eternal, auspicious, and beautiful. right? So the first two were negative. It was the first one was cleaning away all the dust from the mirror of the heart. And the second is uh, putting out the fire of uh, extinguishing the fire of suffering, material suffering of samsara. And now those are both negative. You're getting rid of something bad that you don't want. Now comes the positive engagement with the third one, the third effect. And so our positive engagement begins and ultimately takes us to reality, to the real truth, which is eternal, auspicious, and beautiful. It takes us to that auspiciousness which is above this world of difficulty. And in a general way, we achieve the supreme goal, the highest auspiciousness, the greatest good from chanting the holy name of Krishna. If we analyze this scrutinizingly, we find that in this stage, the holy name takes us to an intimate personal relationship with Krishna, which includes neutrality, servitude, friendship, and filial affection, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, and Vatsalya Ras. Shreya covers the grace of Nityananda Prabhu, for it is by his grace that we may be allowed to worship Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. Nitayer Karuna Habe, Vraje Radha Krishna Pabe. Wow, what is that? I just want to reread that. Shreya covers the grace of Nityananda Prabhu, for it is by his grace that we may be allowed to worship Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. Hmm. The next stage is Vidya Vadhu Jivanam. The holy name prepares us for the wholesale surrender to Krishna. The wholesale surrender to Krishna that is found in conjugal love, in Madhur Ras, where the devotees surrender themselves infinitely at the disposal of Krishna. Because Vidya Vadhu refers to the consort, which is Vidya Devi, which is ultimately the Surup Shakti, who is Srimati Radhika, right? Like um, she is the ultimate embodiment of. Uh, so yeah. Anyways, the name prepares us for wholesale surrender to Krishna that is found in conjugal love, where the devotees surrender themselves infinitely at the disposal of Krishna. Okay. The next stage is Anandam Buddhivardhanam. When we come to the proper level while chanting the name of Krishna, we find the transcendental ocean that is above all sorts of experience. The name comes to assert himself over us. The name comes to assert himself over us according to the degree of our surrender. And when our surrender is complete, we feel a new type of ecstatic joy. We experience an infinite ocean of joy, which is not static, but always dynamic. There we find new life and a new type of blissfulness. It never becomes stale or static, but at every moment gives us a taste of the infinite ocean of ecstasy. I really like that though. According to the degree of our surrender, the name comes to assert himself over us. It's like very forceful. It's not, and then that flood comes and it increases that flood of the name comes, Plavana Murti, right? That's in the song Śrīla Bhakti Thakur comes, it says the deluge of, with the Nam becomes a deluge that increases the ocean of Ananda. Then chanting at that time is never stale or static, but at every moment it gives us a taste of the infinite ocean of ecstasy. And now complete self-purification. The last effect is that our entire existence is purified. This kind of enjoyment does not pollute. It purifies. Enjoyment means exploitation. Mundane enjoyment creates a reaction and pollution attacks the enjoyer. But here, because Krishna is the aggressor, the result is purification. Krishna is the aggressor here. So the result, anything to do with Krishna is purification. So Krishna is the aggressor. So the result is purification. All enjoyment that comes from the center, from the autocratic desire of Krishna, purifies us completely. In this verse, the words sarvatma snapanam mean that all different phases of the self, which may be conceived, are fully satisfied and purified at once by chanting the holy name of Krishna. What are the different phases of the self? Anyhow, so yeah, all the different phases of the self, which may be conceived of, are fully satisfied and purified at once by chanting the holy name of Krishna. And there's another meaning of sarvatma snapanam. If we praise Krishna congregationally, we will be purified according to our capacity. Both the singer and the audience, as well as everyone who comes in connection with the transcendental sounds, will be purified. Snapanam means purifying. That vibration purifies everyone and everything. It purifies everyone and everything that comes in touch with it. So Mahaprabhu says, so that's Sarvatma. It doesn't mean your entire existence, your Sarvatma, but it means all souls are purified. Sarva Atma Snapanam. That's the second meaning. So the first meaning is, he says all phases of the self, which I don't fully understand, but and yourself internally, externally, you're completely purified, and also Sarva Atma, all souls are purified. So Mahaprabhu says, go on with Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Of course, Sankirtan must be genuine, so association with saints is necessary. It is not an empirical attempt. We are attempting to have a connection with the higher, unconditioned realm which can descend to help us here. We must have that connection with higher reality, for that is all important. The holy name of Krishna is not mere physical sounds. It is not lip deep only, but it has a greater and higher aspect. Namakshar bahirai bhatte tabu nam kabunoy. It is all spiritual. We are in the marginal plane of existence, so some higher connection is necessary in order that the wave will descend from that higher realm and come to us and spread its influence outside as well. We are in the marginal plane of existence. We are tatastha. So some higher connection is necessary in order that the wave will descend from that higher realm and come to us and spread its influence outside as well. Wherever it goes, the Sankirtan of the holy name of Krishna will produce these sevenfold results. This is the purport of Mahaprabhu's first verse. The first effect is that the holy name cleanses the soul, which is attacked by the dirt of desires from the mundane world. By the second effect, it gives mukti, liberation, perfect independence from material forces. The third effect brings real fortune, the opening of the soul's treasure. The innate resources of the soul are gradually awakened by the holy name of Krishna. Here, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu includes the other forms of relationship with the personal absolute. In describing the next step, he takes the mood of conjugal devotion, where one is absolutely disposed for Krishna's enjoyment, unconditionally surrendering everything for his maximum pleasure. I need millions of mouths. This is the next section. The next effect is the tasting of ecstatic association. In Vrindavan, the realm of Krishna, one who can chant the name of Krishna properly will express himself with a peculiar sort of ego. Oh, we made a translation for this. Sundar Gopal helped me make a translation for this. I'll recite this. This is spoken by Srimati Radhika. So, Tunde tandivini rating vitanute, tundavali labdhaye, karna kroda kadambini ghatayate, karnar budhe sorry, karnar budhe spriham, cheta prangana sangini vijayate, sarvendriyanam kritim. No jane janita ki arpiramritai, Krishneti varna dvaye. When the holy name of Krishna appears on the lips of a devotee, it begins madly dancing. Then the name takes over and handles him as if the person to whom the lips belong loses all control over his lips. And the devotee says, "With one mouth, how much can I gather the ecstasy of the holy name? I need millions of mouths to taste its unlimited sweetness. I'll never feel any satisfaction by chanting with only one mouth." When the sound Krishna enters the ear, he feels that transcendental sound awakens in his heart. What are two ears, he thinks? This is the greatest injustice of the Creator. I need millions of ears. Then if I could hear the sweet name of Krishna, then my heart might be a little satisfied. I want millions and millions of ears to hear the sweet name of Krishna. This is a temperament of a devotee when his attention is drawn towards the holy name. Then he faints. He loses himself, merging in an ocean of ecstasy and joy. And in great disappointment, he says, "I failed to understand the quality and quantity of the substance of Krishna's name. I am perplexed. What sort of honey sweetness does this name contain?" In this way, the chanter of the name wonders. Oh, and Shripad Sajan Maharaj clarified, when it says all phases of the self, that means the body, mind, intelligence, emotions, ego, soul, all that. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Maharaj. That makes it. That's now it's clear. Okay. Um. Hare Krishna, Brian. Sorry, I didn't see you before. And Vamsiwala Prabhu. Haribo. Do you want to see the translation we just made for that? That's going to go in the songbook. I just made a very simple translation. Like it's a literal translation, nothing extra in it, but um, I'm just going to share it anyways. Where is it? It is in Nam Mahima, I think. Actually, I know where it is. It's in, Anuradha sent me this back. Sorry, guys, I'm taking so long, but I'll find it. 1 second. Nam. No, it's in downloads. Anyways, I won't open it up now. Here it is. Found it. Okay, so chant the holy name. I'm naming this chapter in the songbook "Chant the Holy Name" because these are all different instructions from Mahaprabhu to chant. It's all about the glories of the name. Okay, here it is. So this is from Vidagdha Madhav 1:15. When Krishna's name dances upon my tongue, it produces such joy that I desire a multitude of tongues. And when it enters the hollow of my ears, it stirs a longing for millions of ears. It reigns victorious as the constant companion in the courtyard of the heart, captivating all the senses. I do not know who created these two syllables, Krishna, nor with how much nectar they were made. That's a very literal translation of this verse. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Lila, hey, I forgot to give the chapter. Oh, that's annoying. There's such a beautiful description of it, though, in Antya Lila. I just want to find it because it's so beautiful. And I think we have enough time. Yeah, go ahead. Let's see how dear this verse is to Mahaprabhu. Okay. Antya Lila. Let's see if that brings it up. Okay, so it's chapter 1 of Antya Lila. Okay. And it begins on verse, what was it? 93. Okay. So let's go to verse 93. Here. Okay. So after the 4 months of Chaturmasya, Shravan, Bhadra, Ashwin, and Kartik, all the Vaishnavas of Bengal returned to their homes. But Srila Rupa Goswami remained in Jagannath Puri under the shelter of the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One day, while Rupa Goswami was writing his book, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu suddenly appeared. As soon as Haridas Thakur and Rupa Goswami saw the Lord coming, they both stood up and then fell down to offer him their respectful obeisances. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced them both and then sat down. The Lord inquired, "What kind of book are you writing?" He held up a palm leaf that was a page of the manuscript. And when he saw the fine handwriting, his mind was very pleased. Thus being pleased, the Lord praised the writing of Srila Rupa Goswami by saying, "The handwriting of Rupa Goswami is just like a row of pearls." While reading the manuscript, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw a verse on that page, and as soon as he read it, he was overwhelmed by ecstatic love. And then that verse, Tunde tan divini ratim vitanute, tundavali labdhaye. So we already read the translation of that. This is verse 15 of the Vidagdha Madhav. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted this verse, Haridas Thakur, upon hearing the vibration, became jubilant and began to dance while praising its meaning. One has to learn about the beauty and transcendental position of the holy name of the Lord by hearing the revealed scriptures from the mouths of devotees. Nowhere else can we hear of the sweetness of the Lord's holy name. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Haridas and Rupa Goswami and left for the seaside to perform his noontime duties. On the next day, after visiting the temple of Jagannath as usual, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Ramananda Rai, and Sarup Damodar. They all went together to Srila Rupa Goswami, and on the way, the Lord greatly praised his qualities. When Mahaprabhu recited the 2 important verses, he felt great pleasure. Thus, as if he had 5 mouths, he began to praise his devotee. And the 2 verses were the verses Priya So Yam and Tunde Tandavini. Just to examine Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Rai, the Lord began to praise the transcendental qualities of Sri Rupa Goswami before them. Characteristically, the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not take seriously an offense committed by a pure devotee. The Lord accepts whatever small service a devotee renders as being such a great service that he is prepared to give even himself, what to speak of other benedictions. And there's this verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Purushottam, the greatest of all persons, has a pure mind. He is so gentle that even if his servant is implicated in a great offense, he does not take it very seriously. Indeed, if his servant renders some small service, the Lord accepts it as being very great. Even if an envious person blasphemes the Lord never manifests anger against him. Such are his great qualities. When Haridas Thakur and Rupa Goswami saw that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had come with his intimate devotees, they both immediately fell down like logs and offered prayers to their lotus feet. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his personal devotees met Rupa Goswami and Haridas Thakur. The Lord then sat down in an elevated place with his devotees. Rupa Goswami and Haridas Thakur sat at the foot of the elevated place where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was sitting. Although everyone asked them to sit on the same level as the Lord and his associates, they did not do so. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Rupa Goswami to read the verse they had previously heard, Rupa Goswami, because of great shyness, did not read it, but instead remained silent. Then Sarup Damodar Goswami recited the verse, and when all the devotees heard it, their minds were struck with wonder. And there's that first one, Priya So Young Krishna Sahachari, that's based on that, that Mahaprabhu was saying that verse, Kumariya Sa Evahara, that story. I'm not going to. So then after hearing this verse, Ramananda Rai and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they said, without your special mercy, how could this Rupa Goswami have understood your mind? Srila Ramananda Rai said that previously Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had empowered his heart so that he could express elevated and conclusive statements to which even Lord Brahma has no access. Had you not previously bestowed your mercy on him, they said, it would have not been possible for him to express your internal feelings. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my dear Rupa, please recite that verse from your drama, which, upon being heard, makes all people's unhappiness and lamentation go away. When the Lord persisted in asking this again and again, Rupa Goswami, he recited that verse as follows. So before Mahaprabhu asked Rupa Goswami to say the verse and he was just silent. He didn't follow. But now finally Mahaprabhu's again and again, no, you have to. So now finally Rupa Goswami, he recited that verse. And that verse that we just recited again, Tunde Tandivini Ratim Vitanute Tundavali Labdhaye. So let's hear Srila Prabhupada's translation of it. He says, I do not know how much nectar the two syllables Krishna have produced. When the holy name of Krishna is chanted, it appears to dance within the mouth. We then desire many, many mouths. When the name enters the holes of the ears, we desire many millions of ears. And when the holy name dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and therefore all the senses become inert. When all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially Sri Ramananda Rai, heard this verse, they were all filled with transcendental bliss and were struck with wonder. Everyone admitted that although they had heard many statements glorifying the holy name of the Lord, they had never heard such sweet descriptions as those of Rupa Goswami. Ramananda Rai inquired, what kind of drama are you writing? We can understand that it is a mine of conclusive statements. Sarup Damodar replied for Srila Rupa Goswami, because Rupa Goswami is too shy. So he said he wanted to compose a drama about the pastimes of Lord Krishna. He planned to describe in one book both the pastimes of Vrindavan and those of Dwarka and Mathura. Anyways, I'm going to stop here. But yeah, you can see how dear this verse is to Mahaprabhu and all the devotees. Just seeing after this, is there? Oh, and then comes the part, Ramananda Rai then asks, please recite the introductory verse of Vidagdha Madhav so that I can hear and examine it. Thus, Sri Rupa Goswami, being ordered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, recited the verse, which is the famous, oh, that's not the verse I was thinking. Anyways, okay, let's continue. Back to Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Gosvāmī. I just wanted to show how important this verse is. So a very nice verse to memorize on the holy name. If anybody wants it, let me know. I can send you the translation we made. We made the translation very simple so that you could easily match it to the Sanskrit. And then you can understand all the words that you're saying. So Krishna's mystic flute song. This has been taught to us by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who said, properly chant the holy name, the sound's representation of absolute sweetness. That sweetness is also to be found in the flute song of the Lord. The sound of Krishna's flute has the great mystic power of capturing and pleasing everyone and everything. Upon hearing the sound of Krishna's flute, the Yamuna's current is paralyzed. The sweet sound of Krishna's flute attracts the trees, the birds, and the beasts. Everything is astounded by contacting the sweet vibration from Krishna's flute. Sound vibration can work miracles. Sound has the highest capturing potency. Sound can make or mar. It can do anything. It has such intrinsic capacity. It comes from the subtlemost plane, beyond the ether. That universal sound is absolute sweetness and goodness. How much power is there? How it can capture us? Like a blade of grass, we may be played by the current of that sweet sound in such a way that we cannot even trace our own personality. We may lose ourselves there, but we do not die. The soul is eternal. Diving up and down, we are played by the currents of the sweet sound. We are less qualified than straw, a blade of grass. And the Krishna sound is so big and so sweet that it can play us in any way it likes. We cannot begin to conceive how much power is in the name, the sound which is identical with the absolute goodness and sweetness. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, don't neglect the sound which is one and the same with Krishna. Absolute sweetness and goodness. Everything is there within the holy name. And the holy name is representing itself to us in a very cheap way. Nothing is required to purchase it. No money, no physical energy. All these things are unnecessary. What is required? Sincerity. One who simply takes this divine sound sincerely will be so enriched that no one will be able to conceive of so much goodness and development. And anyone may have it very cheaply, but one must chant sincerely with his whole heart. Of course, wholehearted sincerity presupposes going to a proper agent, a saint, and getting the holy name from him. We can't be sincere without surrendering to Sri Guru. Sri Krishna Sankirtan is praised by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the inaugurator of the Sankirtan movement, who came as Radha Govinda combined. His advice is most valuable and necessary to tell us that with a sincere spirit, we must come to join this Sri Krishna Sankirtan, the most purifying transcendental sound, which affects liberation, gives all fulfillment, and grants us such a positive attainment that we lose ourselves in the ocean of joy and inconceivable sweetness. This is Sriman Mahaprabhu's grace, and he proclaims, let Sri Krishna Sankirtan be expanded into this mortal world, that it may benefit everyone infinitely, for this is the highest and greatest benefit for the whole world. It is all comprehensive. It releases us from all sorts of troubles, establishing us in the highest position of attainment. And in this present degraded age of Kali, only Nam Sankirtan can help us. Of course, Nam Sankirtan is beneficial in all ages, but it is especially recommended in Kali Yuga, because in this age, all other attempts will be opposed by many forces. Nam Sankirtan cannot be opposed by the troubles and waves of this material world, so one must adopt it. If we exclusively give ourselves to this, we will gain the highest fulfillment of life. There is no necessity of any other campaign, for they are all defective and partial. But the most universal, captivating, and benefiting thing is Nam Sankirtan, which takes us to the highest goal. That alone can satisfy everyone. All souls that are now disconnected from Krishna may be helped in this way. No other movement is necessary. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells us, exclusively devote yourself to this. It is all-embracing and all-fulfilling, and you can achieve it with the least trouble and least energy. Let it flourish in this Kali Yuga. Let it flourish for the welfare of the whole universe, to re-establish all souls in their normal position. The last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, the conclusion of the book, is given as follows. Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukha Shamanas Tang Namami Harim Param. Pap means all anomalies, all undesirable things, sin. Material enjoyment and liberation are also included as anomalies, sinful activities. Why is liberation considered sinful? Because it is an abnormal condition. Our natural function is to serve Krishna, but we do not do that in salvation. Mere salvation does not include service to Krishna. So that is an abnormal position, and therefore it is also a sin. To ignore our natural duty and stand aloof cannot but be sinful. All right, so we are going to stop here and we will read the rest of Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary, Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja's commentary tomorrow, because it's 8:02 now. So, sorry, I probably shouldn't have read that whole section from Chaitanya Charitamrita. I wanted everybody to see how dear it was to Mahaprabhu and the devotees. And I just thought, yeah, I thought it was nice. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Jai Shri Gurudev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Param Gurudev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Swaparshad Shri Gaur Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Gan Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya Ki Jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Shri Krishna Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Shikṣāṣṭaka Ki Jai, Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Swaparshad Shri Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Jai Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai, his son Modan Bhashya Ki Jai, Jai Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai, his Vivritti Ki Jai, the golden volcano of divine love Ki Jai, Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai, Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyayevacha Patitanam Pavane Vaishnave Bhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Nitai Mukeshji, Krishnamai Didi, Guru Nishta Prabhu, and on YouTube and Facebook, Shripad Bhaktivedanta Sajan Maharaj, Dandavat pranams Maharaj, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, Vidya Lala Sadidi, Gargarajji, Vangshiwala Prabhu, Champak Mataji, and I'm guessing Indira Mataji and Raseshwari Mataji, and all the other devotees watching. I already said Rohini Nandan Prabhu, right? Yeah. And yeah, everybody else. And also all the devotees watching in the future, like Jaidev Prabhu. And I think Shachi Devi is also watching. She mentioned to me. So Dandavat Pranams. All right, so that's the end of our program officially. And for anybody who wants to stay longer, I'm going to continue reading from this book, Shri Chaitanya Shikṣāṣṭaka. We're going to read the Bengali translation of Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Son Modan Bhashya and the English translation of that. All right. Yesterday we got up to Vidya Vadu Jivanam, so there isn't so much left. Okay. 1 second, I just need to open it now. Where is it? what was it called? I think it's this. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Cheto Darpana. Okay. Let's just read a little bit just to get a recap. So, and this is an extremely literal translation, so sometimes the English might be a bit awkward. But okay, so firstly, through Cheto Darpana Marjanam, etc., the truth of the living entity's constitutional nature has been described. Regarding this subject, Śrīla Jiva Gosvāmī Pad states, the jiva is but one part of the supreme truth, which is characterized by the collective energy known as jiva. He's just one part of that. Like an atomic particle of a ray emanating from the effulgent solar orb, the jiva is a specific atomic particle of consciousness emanating from that substance which is supreme conscious ras, kevala param chid ras vastu. I'm just reading the English up to the points to where we read yesterday. Yeah, and then we'll read the Bengali. The Vedanta commentator Srimad Baladev Vijayabhushan Prabhu also states this. Ishwar, the Lord, is all-pervading consciousness. He is Vibhu Chaitanya. The Jiva is atomic consciousness, Anu Chaitanya. In both cases, the possession of qualities like knowledge, etc., and being denoted by the term I, are eternal. Just as the quality of illumination of the sun's light is not contradictory to the sun's being an illuminator, similarly, the quality of being the knower, inherent in knowledge, is not contradictory to the self being the knower. Between them, between Ishwar and the Jiva, Ishwar is independent and possesses the internal potency, and he sustains the universe by the principles of entering within the universe and regulating the universe within Prakriti, within the material nature, etc. A particular ras, revealed through the suggestive function, the Vyanjana vritti of bhakti, bestows the form of spiritual bliss. And I don't fully understand this. We'll have to come to that later. The living entities are of many types and numerous. It is solely due to aversion towards the Supreme Lord that their conditioned state arises. And upon turning towards the Supreme Lord, the twofold bondage in the form of the covering over the jiva's constitutional nature and qualities ceases, and direct realization, sakshatkar, so direct realization of that swarup, etc., occurs. By this, the jiva's atomic nature, its nature as pure consciousness, and its characteristic possession of a pure ego, pure consciousness, mind, and pure body are indicated. And due to aversion to the Lord, and being overcome by the influence of the external energy, the contamination of the jiva's pure consciousness situated within the pure ego by the impurity of ignorance is also implied. When the pure consciousness situated within the jiva's pure constitutional form is contaminated by the impurity of ignorance, which is a covering of Maya, then consequently the inability of the mirror of consciousness to properly function, then consequently the inability of the mirror of consciousness to function properly occurs. How can the mirror perform its function of reflecting things if it's covered by dirt of ignorance? For that reason, an accurate vision of one's own swarup is not possible. As soon as that dust is cleared from the mirror, then we'll be able to have accurate vision of our swarup. However, when bhakti, which is the essential function, which is the sarvritti, the essential function of the Hladini potency, is set in motion, then Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which follows hearing, manifests and removes all impurities of ignorance. It removes all that avidya mal, that dirt of avidya, cleanses it from that mirror. At that time, the pure consciousness, the Shuddha Chitta, becomes manifest. The jiva becomes endowed with pure ego, and in the mirror of their own consciousness, they perceive accurately the five truths, the Panchatattva, which is Ishwar, Jiva, Prakriti, Kal, and Karma. This is the import. So that's the God. They're able to perceive accurately God, the soul, nature, time, and action. When the mirror of consciousness is cleansed, due to the accurate perception of the Swarup, the perception of one's inherent nature or duty also occurs, one's swadharma. Servitor, and what is that swadharma? Servitorship to the Lord, Bhagavad Dasya, is the jiva's swadharma. When one engages in that Bhagavad Dasya, the inclination towards material existence is then transformed into the inclination for Krishna's service. Then Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. Bhava means the jiva's birth in the material world. That itself is the great forest fire. Its extinguishment, nirvapan, means that without Sri Krishna Sankirtan, nirvana, that means liberation from repeated birth and death, is not attained. This is the import. Does Sri Krishna Kirtan conclude once knowledge of one's swadharma is attained? Śrīla Gosvāmī was just saying this, right? That, okay, then once the negative ceases, we've removed the dirt and we've put out the fire, then we're completely purified. We're mukta, right? We're liberated. So then is that the end? Did Krishna Kirtan performance function and it extinguished that all? And no, no. Nah. After the eternal nature of Hari Kirtan is established, the descriptor Visheshan, the Visheshan, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, distributing the moonlight that blossoms the white lotus of ultimate good, is used to signify a constituent aspect of its inherent nature, its Surup Gata Dharma. The positive thing. That's the real Surup of this Krishna Sankirtan, is this positive aspect, I guess. That's its inherent nature. For souls bewildered by illusion, enjoyment offered by Maya is what is immediately pleasing. That's what's called preya, or vanchita, which means desired. They want all the enjoyment that Maya is offering them. And therefore, their material existence is unavoidable. However, becoming averse to that Maya and performing service to Sri Krishna is Shreya. That's the ultimate good for them. That Shreya is here compared to the Kairav, or white water lily, the Kumuda. Sri Krishna Kirtan, like the moon, distributes the moonlights, the Chandrika or Jyotsna, in the form of bhav, which causes that flower of good fortune to blossom. According to the principle, bhakti arises from bhakti in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhakti Sanjataya Bhaktya. Through the performance of bhakti in its semblance stage, such as hearing and chanting, by those possessing faith, then pure devotion, Shuddha Bhakti, manifests. So when you're in the process of sadhan bhakti, then everything you're doing is not the pure thing, right? You're still in the sadhan, it's still the practice stage, and so it's all a semblance, it's an abhas of hearing and chanting. But if you're performing your sadhan of hearing and chanting, that's abhas, it's not the pure thing, but you're doing it with faith, then eventually Shuddha Bhakti will manifest. The comparison here with the moon is conceived in relation to the nectar, the amrita, emanating from that moon. This is the import. If one raises the initial objection, when do individuals who have attained pure devotion attain their own constitutional form, their Nija Swarup? Considering this, Sri Gaurachandra says, Vidya Vadu Jivanam. It is the life of the bride of knowledge. So this Vidya Vadu Jivanam is when one actually begins, it's the stage of asakti, if I remember correctly, and that's when one actually begins to perceive their form. That's when they get knowledge, vidya. And what is knowledge is when you actually understand really who you are. What is my form? What is my feelings for Krishna? And who is Krishna? And all that. So that all comes from Vidya Vadu Jivanam. And so now that's where we read up to yesterday. We have 15 minutes to read. So I think we can finish this in 15 minutes. I'll read the translation and then the Bengali. In reality, the Lord's potency, Bhagavad Shakti, is one. It has two functions, two vrittis. There's vidya, knowledge, and avidya, ignorance. So vastuta, in reality, Bhagavad Shakti ek. Tahar duiti vritti, vidya o avidya. Through the vidya function, she is known as the internal potency, the Swarup Shakti, in the form of Yoga Maya. And through the avidya function, she is known as Mahamaya, the producer of inert matter, the Jada Prasavini, and the covering agents, the Avarankarini, of the Jiva's Swarup and qualities. Vidya vritti dwara tini Yogamaya Rupa Swarup Shakti evam avidya vritti dwara tini Jada Prasavini o Jiver Swarup o Gun Avarankarini Mahamaya Rupe Parichita hon. During the practice, during the sadhan of hearing, chanting, etc., when pure devotion, when Shuddha Bhakti arises, at that time she, that's the potency now acting as vidya, producing aversion towards objects other than Krishna, discards her own avidya function, and through spiritual knowledge, through chit vidya, she destroys the jiva's two bodies associated with gross and subtle designations, revealing its inherent pure spiritual body, and even, according to qualification, a gopi body suitable for tasting the madhur ras. Okay. Shravan Kirtanadir sadhan kale jokon Shuddha Bhakti udita hon, she kale Krishna tar vastur prati vitrishna utpadan karini tini tokon nija avidya vritti parihar purvak chid vidya dwara jiver stul shukma upadijukta deha dvay vinash koriya tahar swarup gata shuddha chid deha emonki adhikar bhede madhur raser aswadan jogya gopi deha o prakash koren. Therefore, the status of Sri Krishna Sankirtan as the life of the bride of knowledge is established. Ataev, Sri Krishna Sankirtaner Vidhavadu Jivanatva Siddha Hoiteche. That the Swarup Shakti is the bride of Sri Krishna is to be seen in the descriptions of his pastime enjoyments, his Lila Vilas. Swarup Shakti je Sri Krishna Vadu, taha Lila Vilas Varnai dekite hoive. If one argues, when the material bodies composed of the gross and subtle elements are gone, the jiva's constitutional nature as atomic consciousness becomes pure. But then, its happiness also surely becomes minute, being atomic in nature. Right? The jiva is atomic. He's paramanu. He's just an atom. And so isn't then the happiness that he attains also atomic? I think that's kind of what it's asking, right? So, jadi bolo, stul lingamoy maik sharir gata hoile, jiver anu chaitanya swarup nirmal hoy, kintu, tokon tahar suk o nishchoy paramanu rup bolia kudra hoya take, to e purva paka ashanka korea, Shri Sachinandan shikha ditechen, anandam buddhivardhanam. So anticipating this objection, Shri Sachinandan instructs, anandam buddhivardhanam, increasing the ocean of bliss. So in that state, where the pure spiritual body is manifest, Sri Krishna Sankirtan then causes the natural bliss inherent within the self of that jiva to increase infinitely. Ananta rupe samvardhan. It increases infinitely through the essential function of the Hladini potency. And the jiva who attains their pure swarup obtains infinite bliss, ananta ananda, at that time. This is the import. So even though the jiva is so minute, he experiences infinite bliss. It expands infinitely. So, She Shuddha Chid Deha Prakashita Avastai, Shri Krishna Sankirtan Tokon, She Jiver Atma Gata Swabhavik Anandake, Ladini Sar Vritti Dwara, Ananta Rupe Samvardhan Koraya Taken. Evam, Shuddha Swarup Prapta Jeev, She Kale Ananta Ananda Labh Koren. A Bhava. In that condition, having attained the nature of pure conscious ras, Keval Chir Ras Swarup, the jiva tastes the full nectar with intense attachment, with anurag, at every step. She avastai, keval chid ras swarup hoya, jiv pratipadam, arthat pade pade, anuragir sahit, purnamrita aswadan korite thaken. Due to the absence of any cessation of desire, Trishna nivrittir abhave, so due to the absence of any cessation of desire for the ever-fresh form of Sri Bhagavan, the enjoyment, the sambhog of ever-fresh ras also occurs then. Okay, I think this is a double negative. So, yeah, this is confusing. Due to the absence of any cessation of desire for the ever-fresh form of Sri Bhagavan. So that means due to there not being anything blocking one, right? Because normally all our material desires are what makes us not really want Krishna. But because there's none of that, there's nothing blocking us from, right? Am I understanding correctly? And so it's a double negative, makes it positive. Anyways, okay, so Nitya Nutan Vigraha Shri Bhagavanir Prati Trishna Nivrittir Abhave Tokon Nitya Nutan Raser Sambhogo Ghatya Thake. If one asks, since even the endeavor for enjoyment contains opposition to pure love, how is immaculate bliss attained in that state? Considering this, the crest jewel of renunciants, Nyasa Chudamani, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he adds the descriptor Sarvatma Snapanam, complete bathing, purification of the entire self. Yeah, so the question is, but in love, there's no desire for enjoyment. So how is he getting so much enjoyment? Right? I think that's basically what it's saying. How is it possible to get so much enjoyment when you're in prem? There is no desire, endeavor for enjoyment. Jadi bolo bhog cheshtateo. Sorry, bhog cheshtatai. I'm having a hard time reading all of a sudden. Bhog cheshtateo shuddha premer virodhita thakai ki rupe she avastai nirmal ananda labh hoy iha chinta koriya nyasi churamani sarvatma snapanam e visheshan jog koritechen. In that state, because Krishna's bliss, Krishnananda, is immaculate, it is nirmal, this jiva, being devoid of the desire to enjoy its own happiness, her own happiness, naturally, in her constitutional form as a maidservant of Srimati Radhika, who embodies the Hladini potency and Mahabhav, enjoys all bliss related to the divine couple's enjoyment. So the jiva doesn't enjoy his own bliss. They enjoy the bliss of Radha and Krishna's enjoyment. They enjoy all bliss related to the divine couple's enjoyment. So that's what's giving them bliss, is the bliss, the enjoyment of Radha and Krishna. It's not their own personal bliss. That's how I'm understanding it. Okay. She avastai, Krishnananda nirmal bolia, nija sukh bhoger icha shunya e jeev swabhavata ladini mahabhavmai Shrimati Radhikar dasi sarupe jugal vilas vishayak shakal ananda upabhog koren. Here, by the two words sarvatma snapanam, it is to be understood that the faults of merging into Brahman, which falls under Sayujya Mukti for the liberated soul, as well as faults like the enjoyment of one's own selfish desires, have been completely washed away. Estale, sarvatma snapanam e paraduiti ritwara, mukta jiver शाजुज मुक्तिर अंतर्गत भ्रमलय दोष समूह एवं निज काम संभोग आदि दोष सकलेर संपूर्ण धौत होयाचे जानते होइबे. Engaged in the pastimes of diverse loving exchanges of the divine couple Shri Radha Krishna, whose forms are eternal, conscious, and blissful, this Shri Krishna Sankirtan, characterized by the 7 qualities, is supremely victorious, Vijayate, reigning as the very best due to its excellent study. It is supremely victorious, reigning as the very best due to its unique excellence. And that's the end. Sachid Ananda Swarup Jugal Shishi Radha Krishnir Prem Vaichitra Lila Par A Sapta Gun Vishisht Shri Krishna Sankirtan Vijayate Vishishtata Dwara Sarvashreshth Rupe Viraj Koritechan. All right, so that is our, we now completed the Sanmodan Bhashya of Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Tomorrow, in the extra part of our program after Jaidwani, we will read the Vivritti of Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. All right, thanks for staying all the way to the end. Jai Shri Radhe, Haribol. See you all tomorrow. Haribol. And wait, let me just look at the calendar really quick. What is coming up? I sent it out in our TT Countdown group. Okay, so tomorrow is Janu Saptami, Janavi Puja. So maybe we could read a little something about the glories of Ganga. Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote something in the Ode to Ganga Devi or something like that. So we could read that maybe. And then in 3 days from now is Janava Devi's appearance day, Sita Devi, the consort of Ramachandra's appearance day, and disappearance day of Madhu Pandit. So we'll have a special program for that. And then Mohini Ekadashi in 5 days. And then Nrsimha Chaturdashi is just in 8 days. So a little over a week from now. All right, cool. All right, see you all tomorrow. Dandavat Pranams. Thanks for joining. Dandavat Pranams, Maharaj. He's still here. There you go.